Hi everyone, it's Sam and I'm back with another video for Lawn Fawn. Today I'm using the Chirpy Chirp Chirp stamp set, Spring Basket stamps and dies, the Easter egg background stencils, and the Shadowbox card die set. And as always, I'm using Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. It's a tongue twister. And I am starting by coloring out my Easter eggs. I'm using pink, pale orange, and natural beige for my eggs and anything hot pink on this card. Orange and bright yellow for eggs, as well as the beaks and some paint. I'm also using yellow and lemon yellow for the eggs, and we'll see those colors multiple times again used. I decided I needed one more color in this bunch of eggs, so I'm using Carmine Red, but when I pulled it out with my water brush, I thought that it matched the pink too much. So I decided to add some Scarlet Red, which will just give it a little bit more of an orange color. I still think it matches too much with the hot pink that we colored first, and I go back and change that as well. I decided to add purple and sugared almond pink to a few of the already colored hot pink eggs, just to make them a little bit purpley and a little bit different from each other. And those colors also I use throughout this card. I'm using dark brown, mustard, and natural beige for the bunny ears. I'll also use that same color combo for the Easter basket. I'm doing what I always do, which is starting with my darkest color, then adding my medium color and pulling it out with my lightest color. Sometimes I use a water brush to pull out the color even more, and sometimes I don't. It just depends on the image and the saturation level and how I'm feeling. I'm using mustard yellow and lemon yellow to color these big chicks and the little chicks, actually. I always use mustard to shade my yellows because sometimes just using yellows themselves doesn't give me personally enough contrast for what I like. So I add a little bit of light brown, mustard. If you've been a long time follower of my videos, that's my color. Who knew? But it's pretty boring. Rainbow is my real color. We all know that. But mustard, I use it for browns. I use it for oranges. I use it for yellows. I love it. It's a great accent color. I am adding blush. It's the same color I used as the ears, which is light carmine and pale orange. I add the blush to all the chicks. And then I'm using, as I mentioned before, the orange and bright yellow for the beaks and the feet of these little chickies. And next I am going to color the Easter basket, I believe. Let's see if I'm right. I am not right. I'm using the same pink I used before, which is the pink, pale orange, and natural beige. Again, I am using all these same colors. For instance, mustard and light beige. We've already seen me use these before, but now I'm using them on the paintbrushes. And I'm using the sugared almond pink and the purple again to color this large Easter egg shell. And I really like coloring a big scene with the same colors that I've already used. Now, I don't want it to get boring and use just the same pink on the entire card. But if I use a little bit of pink in the eggs and a little bit of pink on the bows and a little bit of pink in the paint, same with the orange, I just feel like it makes everything a little bit more cohesive. Here's the little ribbon area for the Easter basket. Same pink as the eggs. Same pink as these bows. Pink, natural beige, and pale orange. And I'm also going to use this color combo for one of the paint cans. Spoiler alert, that's coming up. And like I said, I'm just using the same bunch of colors that I've already used. I'm not adding any new colors. This will make my Shadowbox card feel cohesive and like they're all part of the same scene. And I just thought, especially I knew the background was going to be blues and oranges, I thought that I would just go for broke, make this the happiest, brightest card for Easter you've ever seen. I am using the same colors I used for the chicks for this little speech bubble, which is the mustard yellow and lemon yellow. And then finally, some new colors, light gray and vanilla. This is just barely a color, barely coloring the paint cans. It doesn't detract. And those are the images. Easy peasy. Next, I am doing the background. I've already die cut my 2 panels for my Shadowbox card from some Mermaid cardstock. And now I'm using Peacock Feather Distress Inks and the first layer of the Easter egg background stencils. I'm just adding a base color, just a little tone on tone, no shading, no contrast. And I just wanted the subtle tone on tone. And now I'm lining up and I'm having trouble because I didn't pay attention. This is super easy to do, but I just wasn't paying attention. But I'm lining up the second layer of stencils, and I'm using Mermaid Lagoon and Blueprint Sketch to add, again, a subtle bit of color. I still wanted it to be in the same color family. I didn't want it to like pop. I wanted it to be noticeable in the sense that, oh yeah, there's a design, but not distracting from the rest of the scene. Does that make sense? I love a tone on tone. I'm doing the same thing for the other panel. Now this is going to be the inside of my Shadowbox card. I didn't want it to be plain blue inside the scene. So I'm adding this little fun extra spectacular, subtle background for the inside of my Shadowbox card. The outside, I am going to do a little bit of ink blending, but first I'm going to clean off my craft mat because I didn't want any of that ink to get on what I had already just stenciled. So I'm using the same colors. I'm using Peacock Feathers, Mermaid Lagoon, and Blueprint Sketch to add just a hint of a sky. It also brings in, you know, the inside out. What we just did on the inside, it's bringing it back in to the outside so that everything's cohesive. Again, Peacock Feathers, Mermaid Lagoon, a little bit of Blueprint Sketch. And instead of ink blending the grass in on the Shadowbox card, I'm going to be stamping this little line of grass that comes with the Chirpy Chirp Chirp stamp set. I'm stamping it in Mowed Lawn Distress Oxide ink, so it is pretty bold. And that's the panels for the Shadowbox card. Next, I have die cut from the same Shadowbox card die set 2 pieces of the hills for inside my card. My cat jumped up. Say hi, Sedona. And I'm just using a little bit of Mowed Lawn and pine needles to add some color to those, since I added color to the Shadowbox card. Next, I'm taking the largest rectangle to cut the window of my Shadowbox card. And I'm going to use a bone folder to fold over all my lines so everything folds nicely together. All the little creases where we're going to attach some very thin 1/4 inch tape to all the little tabs. So when we put this together, it's just going to go so easy. I'm also using my bone folder to rub down and burnish the tape so it doesn't come off. Once I take the release paper off, I add just a little bit of the Lawn Fawn glue because I use double adhesive on everything. For the hills, I'm just putting them inside. I'm lining up the bottom of the hill with the bottom of the Shadowbox card set. On the shortest panel, I'm going to take off the release paper on all of the rest of the tabs, add just a very thin line of glue, this is optional, and then fold it over like a book and hold it down so that everything is glued, and instantly we have our Shadowbox card. Voila. Next, I almost forgot to record this part. But we're going to decorate. The best part, right? This is the best part of any card making, is actually decorating it. At least for me. Because I start making a card with, with an idea. And I usually color way too many images. In this instance, actually, where you're going to see, I actually added some butterflies from the Spring Basket stamp set because I felt like it needed just a little bit more. I don't know if it did or not, but I felt like it did. So each little panel is going to have its own scene. You tell me what's your favorite. Is it the one with the eggs and the paint? Is it this little guy with half the eggshell with the other little eggshell chickies? Or is it this little guy? Now, this is my favorite guy. He's got the paintbrush, check. Can of paint, check. And then I add this sweet little butterfly on his ear, like it's landing on the ear. And he's my favorite, just like that. Boom, boom, my favorite. I finish off by adding one more can of paint inside, and then a little butterfly at the top, and that is the card. Guys, this came together so easily. Look how fun. This guy's painting the big happy Easter egg. We have this little scene. These little chickies are just adorable. They're chirping. And of course, my favorite little guy. Couldn't resist the bunny ears. I could not resist. I hope that you guys had fun making this card with me. Could not have been easier. And what a fun card for someone to open and just make their day. Because this is sunshine and happiness, right? Thanks again for joining me. Be sure to check this card out up on the Lawn Fawn blog and have a great day. Bye!